Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and Patreon, and contact Dayspring Discussions on the Facebook group, Twitter account, and dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Well, happy Friday everyone. The weekend is upon us. That's right, I normally do a show on Thursday, but got a little caught up yesterday doing some stuff. I went to work, and then we had the meet the teacher at my daughter's school, and then we went out to eat afterwards, and before I knew it, the day was done. So doing this Friday morning, that way get you guys ready for the weekend. Hope you got some good plans going on. I have to work today and tomorrow, but Sunday I'm off, so I'll do some family stuff. It's the day before my daughter starts kindergarten, so we'll try to have as much fun as we can. But also this weekend, one thing I want to check out is the new movie Happy Time Murders with Melissa McCarthy. That comes out. I'm kind of excited to see that and kind of the raunchy Muppet comedy that is going on there. So if you seem interested in that, and if you watch it, get back with me, let me know what you think. And like I said, I am working today and tomorrow, and by that it means I'm going to sell suits during the day, but at nighttime I've actually started Lyft driving around downtown Austin. So if you're in the Austin area and need a ride somewhere tonight, you can look me up in the Lyft app and schedule an appointment anytime after 9 o'clock. I'll be glad to give you a ride to wherever you need to go. And just to let you know, in my car, it's full of mints, hand sanitizer, and Star Wars music. I play music from all 11 Star Wars movies, and everyone always seems to comment on it, whether it's good or bad. It's a good conversation starter. But if you need a ride tonight or tomorrow, let me know, guys, and I'll get you where you're going. Okay, so as far as news for today, just kind of really a bunch of little things, nothing really big. So I'm going to cover a couple things. You guys, of course, fire back on the social media accounts and Gmail account. Let me know what you think. So let's start off in the Arrowverse. So we're getting a lot of information about this year's upcoming crossover. We know it's going to be featuring Batwoman and Gotham City, and that Ruby Rose is going to be playing Batwoman. And we also know that it's not going to feature Legend of Tomorrow, which is something a little different from previous crossovers. I think a lot of people are really getting psyched for it just because of the fact that you are bringing in Batwoman, who is a kind of a cult fan favorite, but also the fact that last year's Arrowverse crossover was so good with Crisis on Earth X. It was so good. I watch it over the Justice League. I've seen it more times than I've seen actually a Justice League movie, just because I find it so entertaining. So I think that's another reason people are getting psyched for it. Well, we got some more news about it this week. They came out with a promotional picture with Flash, Arrow, and Supergirl on it, just letting us know that the crossover is going to air over December 9th through December 11th. That also Superman, Tyler Hoechlin, is going to be back. And that's going to be interesting because, you know, you can see him interact with maybe Oliver Queen Arrow and Flash, and that'll be interesting to see how especially him and Oliver get along, because Green Arrow is essentially Batman in this Arrowverse, especially personality-wise. So how he and Superman get along, I think that'll be interesting. But also the main thing that they announced is that they are actually going to cast Lois Lane for the Arrowverse. Now, the character has been mentioned several times in Supergirl. We have yet to see her, but now they're going to cast her. It's not been done yet, but the prospect of the character coming to the Arrowverse, I think, sounds pretty cool. In regards to Hoechlin's Superman, I wasn't a big fan of it, honestly, when they brought him in for season 2, but he came in and did a pretty good job. I mean, you had to think about where this Superman was in his life. By the time Supergirl came in, that Superman had already been established. So this is like, 6-7 years plus that he's been Superman. And he's also married to Lois, so she knows his secret and all of that. So I also just, like the way he played the character. It wasn't the best. I still prefer Christopher Reeves or Henry Cavill, but I didn't hate it. I thought I was going to hate it, and I didn't. So I'll give him props for that. But again, another reason to get excited for this crossover. I'm anxious to see who they're going to cast as Lois Lane. Ruby Rose has gotten a little bit of controversy as far as her casting. I had a coworker of mine. She is actually excited about it. She knows who Ruby Rose is, and she's never seen any of the Arrowverse or Flash or Supergirl, anything like that. But she was excited to have this actress who she likes play Batwoman. So maybe they, doing this, they've got another viewer. I told her to check it out, give it a chance. Maybe she will, maybe she won't, but I think it's cool. So bringing in Superman, I'm, again, excited for another crossover, given that, last year's was really good. The year before that wasn't the best, but it was okay. It was, it was decent, but Crisis on Earth X was so good, and now we're bringing in Superman for this one. I think it'll be cool. I'd really like to see Black Lightning play a role too, because again, we still don't know where Black Lightning falls in the Arrowverse, or if he does it all, technically. But I think it'd be cool to bring him in. Maybe next year, maybe down the road. I don't know, guys. But fire back on the social media accounts and Gmail account. Let me know what you think of this news. Okay, next up, it has been announced that acclaimed film composer Hans Zimmer has signed on to do the score for the Wonder Woman sequel, Wonder Woman 1984, according to the official website. Now, Zimmer is no stranger to the superhero or comic book genre films. He composed Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice back in 2016. He's also going to be composing X-Men Dark Phoenix, and of course he was the guy who did the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy, and he's doing the upcoming Lion King film as well. So Hans Zimmer has done obviously a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of the superhero genre. That's great. I find it a little odd though, because after he did Batman v Superman, he actually said he was done with the superhero comic book genre as far as composing. And then they announced that he was going to do X-Men Dark Phoenix. Now they're announcing that he's going to do Batwoman 1984. Going back a little bit on his word, there must be something, of course, that he sees in the project or someone that he knows to get him to do films like this that he said he wasn't going to do anymore. Now, I like Hans Zimmer. I wouldn't say he's in my top 3 as far as film composers. Of course, John Williams is the best. I really like Michael Giacchino. He's done Rogue One, Star Wars story. He's done Speed Racer. He's done the newest Star Trek film, starting with J.J. Abrams. So those two are probably my top as far as film composers. Other ones, of course, I love the late James Horner. He did some great stuff with Titanic and Braveheart and Avatar. But Zimmer, he's good. I really, I like his stuff. And if he's going to keep doing movies like this, I'm okay. I mean, he's the one that did the original Wonder Woman theme back in Batman v Superman. So, if he wants to continue on with that, that's fine too. I just find it a little odd that last year he said he wasn't going to do any more superhero films, and yet he's got 2 set up right now that are coming up. But, oh well, he's a great talent, and I'm happy for it. Next up on the agenda, Danny Boyle, who's the Academy Award winner for Best Director for Slumdog Millionaire back in 2009, was set to do the next James Bond film starring Daniel Craig, but it looks like he's left the project now, quote, due to creative differences, and will no longer do the 25th Bond film. This might put the film a little bit on a hiatus, since they already announced when it was supposed to come out, but now it looks like they're going to be searching for another director. It's kind of a bummer. I like Danny Boyle. He's done several other things that I've enjoyed, such as Steve Jobs and Trainspotting. He even did that Leonardo DiCaprio film, The Beach, back in 2000, which is a little weird, but I think it has a lot of good stuff, had a really good message. But he's a good director, definitely. Now, Sam Mendes has directed the last couple of Bond films, such as Skyfall and Spectre. Wasn't a big fan of Spectre. Skyfall, I know a lot of people liked. I don't think I was crazy about it like the others, or at least other people were. I enjoyed, of course, Casino Royale, I think is my favorite Bond film just overall. And Quantum of Solace, I know people didn't like it, but I do, honestly, because I remember when I was about to see Skyfall in theaters, I watched Casino Royale, and then I watched Quantum of Solace. And it really is a direct sequel to Casino Royale, where it ties in very well to it. As a standalone film, I get it, it's not great, but as a setup for Casino Royale, that's great. And then they had this overall arcing of the giant criminal organization, which they kind of dropped for Skyfall, and then tried to pick it back up again in Spectre, and they just fumbled it hardcore. I did not enjoy Spectre at all. I mean, I like the James Bond films. I'm not a huge fan of them, but it's James Bond. If you enjoy action movies or just movies in general, you have to have some place in your heart for James Bond and just the franchise in general. Of course, Fireback, Facebook group, Twitter account, and Dayspring discussions at gmail.com. All right, folks, last piece of news for today and for the week. It was announced that Mummy star Brendan Fraser is going to be playing Robotman / Cliff Steele in the DC Universe series Doom Patrol. This is all according to Deadline, and it was announced, I believe, last week or the week before, that Jovian Wade is going to be cast as Cyborg in this series. So Brendan Fraser, he's been doing movies for a long time, good actor. This one, he's going to play Cliff Steele, starting off, and then when he becomes Robotman, he's going to be voicing the character. I'm assuming he's going to be CG or maybe some kind of puppetry. I don't know. His origin is that he's a former race car driver who, following a terrible accident, finds his body inhabitable, only for Dr. Calder to build him a new robotic body. So, Brendan Fraser, he hasn't been gotten a lot of work lately. I love the Mummy films, The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. The third one, was it Tomb of the Emperor? I thought it was crap. But Mummy and Mummy Returns, very solid. You got Encino Man. There's also that 90s drama with Joe Pesci with Honors. It was Fraser, Pesci, and then actually Patrick Dempsey was in it as well. If you haven't seen that little drama, guys, it's really good. I highly recommend it. But Fraser hasn't gotten a lot of work lately, and that's fine, but he seems to be more than capable of doing a role like this. This Doom Patrol series, it's kind of like going to spin off from the Titans, which is kind of what everyone's eyeballs are on. And I'm not a big fan of Doom Patrol, but I can see with this kind of casting and just the storyline of misfit monsters forming a team, it could be interesting. And again, we'll see how it goes. I forgot to report last week or whatever about the casting of Cyborg. And I think I've talked about this before about how you have Cyborg going to be featured. And growing up, to me, Cyborg was always a Titan. He wasn't a Justice Leaguer like Jeff Johns cast him in the New 52 universe. And I think he prefers more on the Titans. I mean, if you look at Teen Titans cartoons or Teen Titans Go, he's a Titan. I think it's where he belongs. You want to try to put him up more in the spotlight with the Justice League? Okay, maybe, but he just feels right in the Titans, especially if you go back and read Jeff Johns' Teen Titans run. He was such a crucial part to that. He was introduced back in the new Teen Titans many years ago. I'd much rather see him as a Titan, so him being in this and featured in this possible shared DC universe with Titans and Doom Patrol, I think sounds cool. But Fraser getting this role, I like him as an actor, so I'm glad he's getting more roles. Alright guys, well that is it for me today. Like I said, just a bunch of little stuff. Time for you to fire back on the Facebook group, Twitter account, and Gmail account. Let me know what you think about any of the stories I've talked about today. You can find me personally, Slim Dayspring 12 on Instagram and Twitter. And that's going to be it for me, guys. Go out, enjoy your weekend, go watch some good TV, and then come back here next week and we'll talk some more news. Until then, may the Force be with us all.